Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another historic Brawl gameplay video, this time with a Doc Aurlock Grizzled Genius deck. The Doc is a 2-mana commander in Simic, it's a 2-3 and it has spells you cast from your graveyard or from exile, cost 2 less to cast, and plotting cards from your hands cost 2 less. So obviously designed with plot in mind, which is a new mechanic from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It allows you to pay a cost which is spent on the card to exile it, and then on a future turn you can play that card for free. It's kind of like the reverse Foretell, whereas Foretell you could pay two to exile a card and then play it on a late turn for a different mana value. But obviously it does work with cards from your graveyard exile as well. So we do have a number of Foretell cards and some flashback cards and adventure cards, because when you cast the adventure side, the card goes into exile. Originally I did build the deck to go even more on plot and flashback and Foretell and adventure and all that, but it didn't really work. You know, there's a lot of cards which aren't fantastic. For example, I think there's a plot card which is just a vanilla 5/4, which is powerful, but you kind of want a bit more from it. So I ended up building it more just a Simic good stuff deck with the with some plot, Foretell, flashback built in. So I won't go through every single card, but we've got it split into sections. So the first one is Ramp. We've got a number of mana dorks. Explore, which can add a draw your card unless you play an additional land. Grow Spile does the same, where it lets you put a land from your hand with a battlefield. It's also an instant, which is very powerful. Root Coil Creeper can add 2 mana of one colour, but you can only cast spells from your graveyard. So Flashback, for example. Cultivate lets you get land. Rosethorn Acolyte is an interesting one. You don't really see it in many decks because as a mana dork it's not great, but it does have an adventure which can add 1 mana of any colour that costs 1 green, so it's more of a filter. You're not ramping with it, but then when it goes to exile, if you've got a dock down, it'll only cost 1, so essentially you're getting a 2-3 Birds of Paradise really. And then Invasion of Zendikar lets you set up 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tap. Next up, we have ways to play cards from the top of our library. Reality Chip, once it's attached to a creature, you can play lands and cast spells, so anything really. Fibble Flip, Lost in the Range, a new card from Outlaws. It lets you plot cards from the top of your library, and the cost to plot it is its mana cost. You can only plot non-land. This is a bit of a, not necessarily a non-bo, but Doc Aurlock only reduces the cost of plotting cards from your hand, so it won't reduce the cost of cards you plot from the top of your library. Augur Vaultborn lets you play lands, but if you've got Coven, which means if you've got 3 or more creatures with different powers, you can cast creature spells as well. Elven Chorus, you can cast creature spells, but you can also, all your creatures get tapped to add 1 mana of any colour. Oracle of Mordiah, lands, and you can play an additional land. This is really powerful, getting down 2 lands a turn, because we've got a number of landfall triggers as well. Vizier of the Menagerie lets you play creatures, and you can spend mana of any card to cast them. It's not particularly relevant, but Vivian is a planeswalker, and you can cast creature spells on the top of your library as well as that +1 to create a 3/3 green beast creature token, and a -2 that says when you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle. We do have some big creatures, so that can be quite powerful if we minus on Vivian and then cast a creature spell. Next, we've got a couple of counters. Wash Away, always good in Commander, a 1 mana counter spell to counter their commander, or you can keep it for 3 to counter any spell. And Saw It Come In as a Foretell card. You can foretell it for 2, and then pay with Doc Aurlock down just 1 on a future turn to counter something, so that's really powerful as well. Next we have not necessarily landfall, more land related stuff. Tireless Tracker, a 3 mana 3/2. When a land enters battlefield under control, you investigate, and when you sacrifice a clue, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. We'll be getting a lot of lands onto the battlefield, so we create a lot of clues, so this can grow very big very quickly. Uro, 3 mana 6/6. When it comes down, you sacrifice it unless it escaped, and then when it ETBs or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, and they put a land from your hand on the battlefield. Very powerful. and then you can escape it for 2 green and 2 blue and exile 5 other cards. This would be casting it from your graveyard, but because it hasn't got a generic mana, Outlock doesn't reduce the cost of it. And then Tatiova is a bit of a powerhouse as well. Landfall, whenever land ETBs, you draw a card and gain a life. As I said, we'll be getting a lot of lands down, so this can get out of hand pretty quickly. Next up, we have our plot cards. Beast Bond Outcaster. When it ETBs, if you control a creature card with power or creature with power 4 greater, draw a card. And it plots for 2 with the dock down, it plots for 1. Free Strider Commando. If it ETBs, with 2+1/+1 counters if no mana was cast or spent on it, or it wasn't cast at all. So plotting doesn't plot you. Once you play a card, you can play it for free, so it will come down with those counters. And if there's a way to put it into play from your library, such as from Discover, it'll come down as well. Plots for 4, but plots for 2 with Dock Aurlock. Outcaster Trailblaze, a really powerful card. You can plot it for 1 with the dock. When it ETBs, you add 1 mana of any colour, so a way to ramp, because you'll play it for free if it's plotted. And whenever another creature with power 4 greater ETBs, you draw a card. We've got a few cards like that. Task Provisioner should have been in the landfall column. Whenever a land ETBs under your control, create a food or treasure token. Most of the time it will be treasure for extra mana, but if we need the life, we can do food. Loan Shark, bit of a boring card, but it is quite powerful. When it ETBs, if you cast 2 or more spells this turn, draw a card. And because you can plot it for 2 with the dock, it's likely you can get this out early, or get it plotted early, and then just play out a few cards, so you draw that card. And I've just removed it from my deck. I'll put that back in. Outlaw Stitcher is our most expensive plot card. It plots for 5, so only 3 with the dock. But when it ETBs, you create a 2/2 zombie rogue creature token, and then put 2 +1/+1 counters on it for each spell you've cast this turn other than the first. So you plot this, and if you play out a few more plot creatures, you can get this down, and it can be a 10/10 or even bigger. Plan for Heist. You can play it for 2 with the dock. If you have no cards in your hand, you survive 3, then you draw 3 cards. So a great way to a card draw spell. So essentially it's draw 3 for 2, but on a future turn, and you get the Savant if your hand's empty. Spineless Paladin, again pretty basic. When it ETBs, you gain 3 life. It is a 5/4 with trample, so quite a big creature, and because you can play it for 2 with the dock, it's quite cheap as well. Railway Brawlers, the real star of the plot mechanic. You can plot it for 2 with the dock. It has reach and trample. Sneaky reach, although not sneaky anymore since they put the animation on Arena. But when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its power. So essentially you want to plot this early and then play this out and play as many creatures as you can on the same turn, just so it increases the chance of getting counters on it. It's also great with Vivian, because that +1 now makes those creatures 6/6s, and if they're trample or reach or vigilance, they are very powerful creatures, and this just makes things absurdly big. Final card is Make Your Own Luck. Not a plot card in itself, but you can look at the top 3 cards of your library. You basically plot a non-land card from among them. Any card, doesn't matter how expensive it is. If you do because plotted, then you put the rest into your hand. So essentially it's draw 2, exile 1, play that 1 for free next turn. And unlike other cards like this, because you put them into your hand, it's not like you've lost anything if you whiff. And then we've got the kind of other synergies with the dock. So a bit of flashback, bit of adventure, a bit of foretelling. Think Twice, it's a very basic draw card. Pay 2, draw a card. Flashback for 3, or 1 with the dock out. Brazen Borer, an old powerhouse from Eldraine. You can pay 2 for the adventure to return any non-land target permanent opponent controls to its hand. This is one of the only 2 kind of removal spells. And then the Brazen Borer itself, Flash Flying, can only block creatures with flying, and it's a 3/1. If you get it out of Railway Brawler, it puts it up to a 6/4, which is very powerful. Lovestruck Beast, Adventure, gets down a 1/1, and then for 3 mana or 1, if it's been exiled with the dock, a 5/5, they can only attack if you control a 1/1 creature. That can be quite hard to do in this deck because we have a lot of counters, and even if we get out a 1/1 somewhere else, it might have counters on it. But it gets to a stage where you don't necessarily need the Lovestruck Beast to attack, it just can sit on defense. Behold the Multiverse, 4 mana, scry 2, draw 2, foretell it for 2, then play it for 2 or 1 with the dock. Stormcloud Vanguard has an adventure, destroy target artifact or enchantment, that can be very powerful. And then for 6 or only 4 with the dock, a 6/7 cannot be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Hasn't got trample, which is a shame, but a great way to get in, or a big blocker. Summon a Festival, a 6 mana card. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield. And then you flash back for 10, but 8 with the dock. Oran's Epiphany, again, a very well-known powerful card. Take an extra turn for 7, or you can foretell it for 2 and pay 7 later on. And if you do, you get 2 1/1 Bird creature tokens. This is a nerfed version. Obviously, with the dock down, you can do that on turn 5. Often by turn 5, you don't necessarily need to take an extra turn. But if you can foretell this early and you're in a position where on turn 5 you can then cast it and you're going to get real value out of it, that's very powerful. And then finally, Beanstalk Giant. An adventure, search your library for basic land card, put in a battlefield, then shuffle. Great way to ramp. And then Beanstalk's Giant's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. So that's going to be a very big giant. And finally, we just have like everything else really. Geralf the Fleshwright, another new card. When you cast a spell during your turn other than your first spell that turn, create a 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature token. And then whenever a zombie ETBs under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter it for each other zombie that enters the battlefield under your controller's turn. You know, it gets to a stage where with plot and the amount of mana we produce, you can be playing 4, 5, 6 creatures a turn, or spells a turn. So you're going to be getting like a 2/2, then a 3/3, then a 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, and especially with Outlaw Stitcher, if you have this plotted and you can play this Outlast, the zombie rogue token that creates is going to be huge. Guardian Project, just a great card draw in green. Force of Vigor, you can exile a green card if it's not your turn, rather than paying its mana cost, and destroy up to 2 target artifacts or enchantments. There's a lot of powerful artifacts and enchantments in Brawl, obviously. This is great. Rashmi is an okay one, I think. When you cast your first spell each turn, you reveal the top card of your library. You may cast it at paying its mana cost if it's less mana value, if not put your hand. So it is card draw, and you might get a pay something for free. Liar, never know how to pronounce it. Spells you control, spells can't be countered, any spells not just yours. But as long as your turn, each instant sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback, which is going to, and that cost is equal to its mana cost, but that's going to be reduced by the dock. Although we don't have a huge amount of cards, instants and sorceries, we don't already have flashback, but we do have Time Warp. Time Warp is one of the few extra turn spells that doesn't exile itself. So we can cast it and then we can flash it back with Lear, or maybe with Mystic Sanctuary put it back on top of our library. Silverback Elder is a favourite of mine in Brawl. It's a big creature for pretty cheap, only 5, and whenever you cast a creature spell, not when a creature ETBs, you can choose to destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Look at the top 5 of your library, put a land into play, or gain 4 life. Very, very powerful. Chimil, spells you control can't be countered. At the beginning of your end step, discover 5. Just great value of getting like an extra card every turn. Vaultborn Tyrant is a huge creature for 7 mana, which is not hard for it to do. When it ETBs or another creature with power 4 or greater ETBs under control, gain 3 life, draw a card. And then when it dies, if it's not a token, create a token as a copy of it, except that it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So you're going to get this twice unless they can exile it, which isn't particularly difficult in Brawl. But it is a big creature that draws you a card and gains you life and draws you a card of a lot of other creatures you play as well. And I think the other real powerhouse of a deck, and you would have seen in the gameplay videos we look for a lot, is River's Rebuke. We don't have any removal in the deck. We have Brazen Borrower's Adventure, Petty Theft to return something to its hand, and River's Rebuke to return everything to its hand. Everything an opponent controls. Our games can go long, and the deck and the board stall out. We get a huge amount of creatures on board, but none of them really have evasion. I think Spinewood Paladin has Trample, and so does Vaultborn Tyrant. But if you're up against a deck which does something similar, you just end up going for ages. But with our card draw, we're going to find River's Rebuke eventually. We cast it, we swing and we win. Often we cast it and they just scoop. So that's something that we look for as our finisher, really. And we control the game essentially with our big creatures, our couple of counter spells, and our value before we can draw it. Mana base, pretty simple. So we do have Mystic Sanctuary, which lets us get a instant sorcery back from a graveyard if we control 3 or more islands when it ETBs. Otawara to bounce things, Boseiju to potentially destroy things. Castle Garenbrig to cast creature spells. And then the rest is pretty standard blue-green dual lands. We do have some fetch lands, not in blue or green, but they can fetch forest or they both fetch forests basically, but these can fetch up any of our lands with more than one basic land type. So that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed playing it, and if you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my gameplay video. Thank you very much. We have a good hand. Turn 1, Light Halfling. Turn 2, Signet. And then turn 3, we can play our commander and then plot the commando. We're up against a Xur Eternal Schemer deck, which is a enchantment-based deck. So Boseiju and then our adventure creature, which can destroy enchantments, would be quite useful to draw. They've paid Alcide's Love Life Bounty, which can give other creatures protection from a colour, which is not ideal. But we don't have much removal anyway, so it might not make much difference. Now, they have got mana up, which means I'm going to play my commander, because using Delighted Halfling, it means it will come in, it can't be countered. And we'll play the fetch land. They play out their commander. We'll crack the fetch. Get a breeding pool. Put it untapped. Draw another land. So what we'll do, we'll play out the Signet Ring and then plot the commando. We won't attack. They've got Death Touch, which is troublesome. Next turn we can play the adventure side of Kellen and then the creature side. We can get out both our lands. And Kellen lets us attack in the air. Can be chumped by Xur, but won't be able to kill it, but at least we can get that attack trigger. And maybe draw off destroying our food token. Investigate, get down. And then yeah, we'll play Kellen. And then the commando. I'll crack the clue at the end of their turn. Hopefully we can get some more bigger creatures so we can draw off Tyrant. Oh, it's interesting. It doesn't have the Death Touch, Lifelink, and Hexproof symbols on the card like it does with Alseed. Makes it kind of tricky to know it actually has the keywords. We can destroy the key to the archive with Kellen attacking. They discard a Triton Wave Rider. No attacks. We'll crack the clue. Another land. Wash away, not the best, but we can get down the Tyrant. And even more land, fantastic. We'll attack with Kellen, and then we can destroy the key. So we've got quite a large board, but we can't really attack because of Death Touch. Part of me tempted to attack with a Tyrant because even if they block with the Alseid, we do get another a Tyrant back and get that other draw trigger. Be interested to see what card they got from Key to the Archives. It's a shame Kellen can only destroy artifacts, not enchantments. While all their enchantment creatures have hexproof. If they don't turn, say, their Saga into a creature, we could have killed it. But a Brazen Borrower would be quite nice. Anything that is not a land would be quite nice. Might end up destroying my own Arcane Signet so we draw a card. They're thinking of something. I've only got 1 mana left, so interesting to see what they get. Maybe a board wipe. I think we'll be in a better position if they do a board wipe, because the Tyrant will stick around. And then we could wash away their commander. Unless it's a farewell, then the Tyrant would be exiled. Well, it's a creature. Play out an island. Investigate. I'll crack the clue now just in case we get anything else we can actually play and to grow the tracker. Part of me thinks they search for a board wipe. So we will, and Tatiover is a good draw if they do. Obviously if we could counter the board wipe as well. We do have the mana for wash away. They've just got back Birth and Meletis to find another basic plains. So they have the mana for Farewell. That's probably not the ideal. Oh, that's gone well. If they have, say, a Spell Pierce, which they don't, Memory Deluge is a good draw. Play out a Tatty over. Play out the land. Get 2 landfall triggers. Get another land. I'm going to swing in with the Tyrant because even if they block with Alsaid, it means we do get the Tyrant back as a token, and if they don't, we get him for 6. Part of me wonders if they'll block and then sacrifice it to give protection from colour, thinking we have something in hand. And depending on what they do, we can Memory Deluge at the end of their turn. Hit him for 5, the Tyrant dies, but so does their Alsaid, and then we get another trigger, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I will keep, I won't plot the Beast Bonder, the Beast Bond Outcaster even, and then we'll Memory Deluge. A River's Rebuke would be good because it could potentially then just give us lethal. Obviously, if another sweeper like Sunfall. That would be a bit of a blowout. But we're in a good position. We've got some card draw. We're at 30 life. Obviously, Thassa is an enchantment, so Xur can animate her. But for now, just animated the Birth of Meletis. And Thassa can bounce something. Well, not bounce, flicker it even. One with Multiverse is good, and then we will get ourselves a creature land. Did you see what they bounce? Because any of their not bounce, flicker, because any of their enchantment creatures will come back as the sagas, and none of them are particularly powerful. And they haven't got the mana to animate them, so we're down 1 less creature, and we can one with the multiverse, and then hopefully start getting some actual cards we can play. Love Struck Beast is okay. We'll play out the forest, get a couple of triggers, play out one with the multiverse. Yeah, we'll play Uro. We'll just cast that. Get a few draw triggers. We'll put in... we do have enough... What do we have? We don't have much in the graveyard that we really want to get back yet. So we'll put in a Fable Passage. Get a few more triggers. Crack the Fable Passage. Get some more triggers. We still have our free card with one with the Multiverse. Which I think we'll use on Storm the Festival. Oracle's good. And then we'll get the Snarl for another trigger. We'll reveal Island. Then we can get down the... Still don't have it... We'll get down the Mystic Sanctuary. And then we can get the Wash Away back. Well, put it on top of our library. And then draw it immediately. Then what we'll do, we'll get down the 1/1. We don't have the mana to cast the Wash Away, so... Oh, we don't have a green mana left anyway, actually. Yeah, so I think we're okay with this for now. We have a lot of life, so we can take a lot of their attacks. And then we can start cracking clues for card draw and to pump up our Tireless Tracker. Leyline Biding. Interesting to see what they take. Is it the one with the Multiverse? Probably should be. Yeah. That's alright. We have 12 lands. And we can play 2 more a turn. So we have quite a lot going on. We can Storm next turn. Again. Escape an Uro. Get down a Beast Bond Outcast as Uro comes back as a 12/12. If they flicker the Leyline Biding, that would be quite interesting. Because obviously we would get it back. Force of Vigor would in theory be really good in this deck, but against this matchup, but all their things have hexproof. So what we'll do, play an island, get a bunch of triggers. Draw the Elven Chorus, play the Flooded Strand, crackle immediately, get even more triggers. Actually, this is where Force of Vigor will be useful because we're about to draw Brazen Borrower and we can bounce Azure to mean their enchantments do not have hexproof. We'll get a island, get another trigger. Oh, and River's Rebuke will probably just be game. What I'll do is I will try and because they might have a counter spell. They do have 1 blue mana. And if they counter this, we'll just River's Rebuke. Okay, I'm glad I didn't River's Rebuke now. But then we can do some fun things. Elven Chorus. And then we'll just plot. And then keep up various things. Tell you what, we'll attack with Kellen. No, I won't do anything, but we can destroy one of our own clues. Draw land. I know, and we can crack some more clues. And then hopefully, depending on what they play, we can wash it away. Or potentially, and then next turn, just River's Rebuke. Obviously, they do know we have Wash Away in our hand. I'm fine with that. Even if their last card can take out our commander, we don't actually need to replay him. Yeah. Also, if they've got a sweeper, we can counter it. And then we'll just River's Rebuke and swing in for, well, a lot. If I was them, I would attack because they need the life gain. Yeah. That is bold. Obviously, we can take it all. And they're going to gain life no matter what. So maybe this game isn't as over as I thought it was. So what are they? 7, 8, 14. Yeah, I'm fine with that. No blocks. But we can crack a lot of clues with our leftover mana to grow the tracker really big. And we will still River's Rebuke. And get in for a lot of damage. Get our one with the Multiverse back. Cast something for free. I think we can crack 2 more after this. They have something that's causing the stick. It might just be Zer's ability. So essentially we need 9 to cast River's Rebuke and protect it with Wash Away. Provisioner can get us some treasures as well. Off our multiple landfall triggers. Oh, actually, we can crack all our clues because Elven Chorus lets us tap all our creatures for mana. I don't think we'll be able to do 38 in one turn. We are all out of clues. And we have a lot of hat cards in our hand. So, first of all, we will play, if I can find it, Tireless Provisioner. That's fair enough. Okay, we definitely won't be able to get in for 38 this turn, but we can still bounce their entire hand. Player castle, bounce their entire board, sorry. And they've only got 8 mana, so they won't be able to replay everything. So we will play Command Tower, get some more triggers. Then we will just River's Rebuke. See what their last card is. I don't know what they searched. Oh, I probably searched up Farewell with Demonic Pack. I don't know what they got from Key to the Archive. I will cast my Chamil in the Sun for free. And yeah, while we didn't have Lethal and Bald, it was going to be hard for them to get down all their enchantments again. And what I was hoping they would do is then play out a lot of enchantments, so he was tapped out, and then I could force a Vigor and destroy 2 of them. But it showed the staying power of this deck in a very long and drawn out match. But anyway, let's move on. We're up against a Baird deck, which is a kind of like soldier based. If you control a creature with power greatness based out, so tokens, counters, ways to buff creatures. River's Rebuke is nice to have, but we don't have any ramp or any early plays, apart from maybe plotting the Beast Bond Outcaster, but I'm going to mulligan this. If it's better, we can explore, get down Root Coil Creeper, and then get down a commander and plot the Outcaster Trailblazer. Play the Breeding Ball, keep it tapped. Play down the Creeper. Not only if I played the Island instead of the Forest, could have played the Forest and then got down Elvish Mystic. Yeah, Tireless Tracker will keep. Quite a good card to have. No, I won't. I will keep these back. They might have a pump spell for Baird, as that's what their deck is about. Next turn we will have 7 mana. We can get down Doc Aurlock, plot the Outcast, the Trailblazer, and maybe they play an artifact we can destroy with the Storm-Keld Vanguard. We can try to destroy that as an enchantment. So we'll play the Dock. Not going to have time to get down the Tireless Tracker. Now I will swing in with the creeper. If they want to trade, that's fine. Next turn we can get down the Trailblazer, then get down the Vanguard, draw a card. So we have 7, I need 4, I need exactly 7 actually, so play the tracker. Play the island. And then draw a card. And having a big 6-7 on defense is quite good. And then we can crack the clue to grow the tracker and draw a card as well. Obviously they're going to go quite wide. So something like a River's Rebuke would be quite helpful. Crack our clue. Grow the tracker. Ghost Bar is okay. We'll play out a Rashmi. Get another clue. Let's just pass the turn. And we can Growth Spiral. And crack a clue. That's going to have a lot of counters on it. 9. River's Rebuke would be perfect about now. Crack a clue. We can crack both. We can bounce something. Force of Vigor is pretty good as well. We can use that to destroy the Dawn of the New Age. Wondering if we just bounce their 5/4 token. I think first of all we're going to plot the Brawler, bounce their 5/4. Get down Fibble Flip. And we can plot Oracle of Muldiah. So next turn we'll be able to have quite a big turn. Get down Railway Brawler. And then get down a few creatures to double their power basically. Right. We're definitely getting down the Brawler. And we can... Don't need another land. I think we can draw into it. Then we'll get down the Oracle. We will play out a Vivian.
Every mutation displays nature's ingenuity.
Give it trample. It's going to maybe be a 6/6.
Every day is a new mutation.
Quite like playing the Vizier. And then, well, we can flash that in and it'll be a 4/2. Next turn we can make our own luck. I might, that's going to be a problem. I might force a Vigor. A couple of things and pitch the Elven Chorus. Right, let's get it to Cassia's Welcome, and we'll get rid of the Dawn, and we'll pitch the Elven Chorus. One with a multiverse is always good. Fortunately, it is plotted, but we'll make another great big trampler.
I'd like you to meet my friend, Stompy.
And tell you what, we'll make our own luck. Wow, nothing. But we can get some more landfall triggers. And next turn we can get down the one with the multiverse, get down the Vaultborn Tyrant. And then we can even minus the Vivian to get a creature with less mana value than the Tyrant. A 16/16 flyer. I might have to... well, obviously, I will block the token. I will let Vivian go because I'd rather have a 14/14 Vaultborn Tyrant. Probably should have put reach on one of those creatures. That's fine. Righty ho, we will Windswept Heath, get a trigger, crack it and fetch it, get another trigger. We will get just a forest so it does enter untapped. Annoyingly shuffled away our silver back. get down the Tyrant. Cast it for free. Get down the Guardian Project. Get down the Borrower. So we draw off the project. And I will get down... What do I have in my graveyard that I could... I could get back Vivian or make your own luck.
In the hand, the chronicles Phyrexia's rise.
Get back a Vivian.
More data will be revel in your minuscule victory.
A world of
But reach on it this time.
my paradise. Every day is a new mutation.
And we will keep hold of Saw It Coming. Although we should be able to play it. Yeah, Behold Multiverse is once during our turn. That's fine.
We fight together.
We are still just looking for River's Rebuke, basically. And next turn we can reality chip, attach it, and then just go off, basically. Problem with Alaline is it doesn't have trample. So reach creature blocks his Alaline and then anything, I suppose. Blocks their 1/1. They're completely tapped out. And obviously our 6/6 reach creature does die, but I'm not particularly fussed by that. We can crack a clue. So we'll get down the castle, get down, we'll play the reality chip for its actual cost, draw the invasion, just get down that island, remember to create our reach creature.
I'd like you to meet my friend, Stompy.
Going to reconfigure onto the Fibble Flip. It's got walled. Let's play this one for free. Search up 2 lands. Get another land. Running out of basics, which is fine. We'll just play the Provisioner. We do want to keep up Saw It Coming, and we should be able to with this.
I've got them all figured out.
You can scry one and draw a card.
I think I know what to do.
Otteroa is fine. You can potentially use it to bounce something. And I think, just double checking how much mana we've got. I think we'll be fine for now. We're in a bit of a weird stalemate, but we have 19 lands. They have 10. And we can play things from the top of our library. That will be able to destroy my one with the multiverse, but I'm not that bothered by that. They're going big on drawing cards. They're now tapped out, which is fine. I might channel Otawara then to bounce it out of line, just give me an extra turn of not having to chump it. And that way I can get in with the Brazen Borrower as well. Yeah, that's fine. There to discard to hand size. Get down the land. There's our Silverback Elder again. We'll get a treasure. Let me cast this with... Oh, I will tick up. Just thinking could I get rid of it, but no, because Adeline will be coming back down.
We will adapt to any threat.
Let's just cast it with one with the multiverse. Multiverse is going to come down, be a 10-14. Create a treasure. Play the Paradise Druid just off the top. We will destroy that. We will play out Geralf and we'll destroy their crowbar just so they can't destroy one with the multiverse. Gonna plot this. And yeah, I'll foretell that. Don't need another land. But would quite like an All-One's Epiphany. Do I have any other troublesome? Yeah, they do. Destroy the platoon dispenser. And I can plot wash away. And I will say leave it there for now. We've only got 34 cards in our deck, and River's Rebuke should be in there somewhere. And we have 2 counter spells. Although Wash Away I don't think will be free. They're going to create a lot of tokens, but obviously our plan is to River's Rebuke.
I've learned much
Once we actually draw it. Next turn we'll be able to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 extra cards. Just from Guardian Project. And obviously taking all one's Epiphany.
Well played.
The Epiphany might just make them scoop, an extra turn often does. Just a Tatty over in our deck, which is another good thing to be able to draw. They've got to discard a hand size again. Their hands merged into their graveyard little replayable pile. We may have to swing in with Brazen Borrower just to take out Archangel Elsbeth. We'll just play this as we do have a goodbye Commander who faces Kakazan. We'll play it at Chimil for free. Get down a Polluted Delta. Make a treasure. Right then, let's get down the Beanstalk Giant. A nice 22-22. We have some pretty beefy zombies now as well. Swiftfoot Boots, not really needed anymore. Get down the Lovestruck Beast, another 10-10. Destroy your dog. Let's just play Time Warp off the top. And then we still have a land, I think. We can get back Time Warp. It goes on top, but we should be able to draw it. Let's just gain 4. There's Time Warp. Now let's get down the Stitcher. And I have no idea how big that zombie is going to be. A 46 zombie. We've got an extra turn coming up. We'll play down the boots. And then we may as well storm. For an Uro and a Commando. A very cheap Great Henge. Put a land on. There we go. Right, to attackers, where is my Brazen Borrower? You can go at Elsbeth. We'll give it reach. Squire 1, draw a card.
I am who I choose to
I think now we're just looking for River's Rebuke. End turn, I get another go. Sure. Just get Kellen down. He's a flyer. There is River's Rebuke. And we have to discard 7 cards. Plan the heist. Don't need Cultivate. Don't need Augur. Don't need all these lands. And yes, that was game. To be fair, even if we didn't have River's Rebuke, we probably had enough to swing in with. We had a 46 Beanstalk Giant, at least 3 zombies with power and toughness of over 20. I thought we had some more. Oh yes, we do. We had a 46, a 16, and yeah, I think they made a mistake quite early. They played Burn Down the House and summoned the Devils, not wipe the board. I think that would have turned out a bit differently if they did that. But yeah, I think that really shows the power of the deck. And that was a really fun, if not somewhat long game. Let's move on. We have a... we do have some ramp, but it's pretty slow. But Jace is pretty good. I'm going to mulligan, see if we can find something better, which we don't really. This is better, I think. I'll put back the River's Rebuke because hopefully we will find it again. We're up against a Roxanne deck. We know this deck pretty well as we have played it ourselves. Just gonna cast the Adventure Side. It doesn't do anything, but it does get it exiled for when Doc Aurlock comes down. Be able to cast it for 1. Next turn, we get down our Arcane Signet. The Force of Vigor can be pretty powerful because a lot of Roxanne is about artifacts. next turn we can get down Doc Aurlock and then get down the Rose from Acolyte. Hopefully we don't draw a land, which is unfortunate. But this does ramp us a bit. And then next turn we can plot the Trailblazer. No land. This is getting a bit annoying. We'll plot the Trailblazer. We'll swing in with both. They won't block. Next turn we have access to 5. So we could get down Jace and then scry and draw. Hopefully hit a land drop if we don't hit it on our draw. If we do draw an untapped land, we could play Chimil, which is always a good card to get down. Discover gives a lot of value. Well, they played out a lot of their hand this turn. I think we're going to take a big hit next turn, no matter what we do. No one-tap land. We will add a blue, means we can get down the Jace. Scry. Where's all my land? Well, there is a breeding pool. Enter tapped. I imagine Jace is going to die. Although maybe not, we can probably block something with the Doc Aurlock. If they get Roxanne down with haste, the careful tap-in suggests they may have something. Yeah. Oh, Goldspan. That's probably game. Yeah, that's game. You know, we bricked hard there, which is unfortunate and doesn't usually happen with his deck, but I think the fact we had to mulligan a couple of times to get a good starting hand and only had 2 land in our starting hand was meant we were never going to be in with much of a chance. Anyway, let's move on. We're up against a Grumgully the Generous deck, which buffs all non-human creatures, so I imagine their deck has all non-human creatures. We have a pretty good starting hand. We do only have 2 lands, which is a bit of an issue, but we have Llanowar Elves and Paradise Druid, and then we can plot the Beast Bond Outcast up for only 1 when we get Aurlock down. So turn 1, Llanowar Elves. Turn 2, we'll play with Cavern of Souls on Druid. get down Doc Aurlock, and we'll plot. We'll play Wooded Foothills, crack it, and get our breeding pool, put that into play, and get down Rashimi. And we'll get down the Beast Bonder as well, and swing in. I would like to wait until we have 3 islands to play Mystic Sanctuary, although we don't have anything we need to get back yet, but it is a good way to recurse a spell. So I'll just play Foliage Strand, crack it, and get a Hedge Maze. Jamil's always good. And we will investigate. And I will play the Sanctuary. It allows us to ramp. What they have for only 1. Fair enough. But we can get down the Inner Sun, which allows us to discover. I will put that into my hand. Could have done with that last turn, but never mind. And the problem is now there's going to play out a lot of creatures which are all going to have a couple of +1/+1 counters. Let's play out Commander and play out Kellen. Hopefully we can discover into something good. Tireless Tracker was okay. We can potentially counter something that is exiled with Bard class. Wow, that's a bit of a problem. Do they have another fight spell? They do have another fight spell. And get down a land, which lets us investigate. And I will keep this in hand. All their creatures have reach. Another counterspell. We'll probably crack a clue. They definitely have a trick. I will take 11. Let's see what we draw. Another land. So we'll play the Vista, crack it, get 2 more clues. I'm going to get an island just because of Wash Away and Saw It Coming. And we'll foretell Saw It Coming, but we can also cleave Wash Away. And let's see what we discover into. Sure. Let's just get it down as a creature. That's fine. Let's crack some more clues. Trailblazer's an okay draw. Passage is an okay draw as well. And Brawler is a very good draw. We're going to plot both of these. And now the tracker can block the Gnarled Connolly. We'll get down a mountain, get 2 more clues. And let's see what we discover. We'll put that into my hand. We can get it down after we get the Brawler down. I don't want them drawing a lot of cards, so we'll counter that. And then we will crack more clues. One with the Multiverse is always a good draw, and we can cast it quite easily. Get down one with the Multiverse. We will play the Guardian Project for free. And then get down the Brawler. Draw a card. Get down the Trailblazer. It turns into an 8/4. We can add a blue. And we can get down God as well. And we will... Sure. Unfortunately, we did go past an Auron's Epiphany then. We will discard a tap land. Yes. We started off quite slow, and I think they could have attacked a couple of times quite comfortably. But once we start getting our board pretty wide, you know, we build up the tracker quite big through clues, and then once we get Railway Brawler down for free and then get out more creatures, it just turns everything huge basically. You know, a 12/11 God, an 8/6 Trailblazer, they can't attack through that. I think if they attacked earlier they would have been in for a better chance, but good stuff. Let's move on. Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to the wrap up. Unfortunately, my MTG assistant recently has been playing up and has stopped recording the stats of my decks. I need to figure out why. So I can't exactly show you the stats, but the win rate is pretty good. We didn't play as many games as we usually do. I like to play 9, 10 or 11 games to get a decent look at it. But some of these games go long. I think one in the video is 30 minutes, one's 26 minutes. So we didn't play a huge amount of games. When this deck gets going, it is hard to stop. It can draw so many cards, get so many lands down the battlefield, get so much value from cheaply plotting creatures. Like if you can plot Railway, you know, if you can get a mana dork down on turn 1, maybe another mana dork down on turn 2, the dock on turn 3, and then plot the Railway Brawler on the same turn, you know you can play it for free next turn, and then if you have other creatures you can play, they're just going to get huge. And if it doesn't get removed, you're just going to get huge creatures. And that's really the key to this deck. I would say because of its ability, there's very little point playing it on 2. You don't really want to play it on 2 and increase the risk of removal unless you have something like Trailblazer. You can plot for 1. So what you could do, play a mana dock to turn 1, turn 2, get down the dock and plot something for 1. But there's only, I think, the Trailblazer and the Outcaster you can plot for 1. You probably want to wait a few turns to build up your mana, so when you get it down you can plot a lot of cards, or you can play something from exile that's been foretelled for cheap, or if you've got the Acolyte into exile and the Lovestruck Beast, you can play those for 1. So that's a bit of advice. Don't be worried about playing out your dock early. He's not going to kill things by himself, but essentially he's ramp in reducing the cost of a lot of your cards. So I had a great time playing this deck and building it. I do wish it was a bit more plot or foretell or adventure focused, but they didn't really work. So as I said, it's just more Simic good stuff, which is always fun to play. It always works. There's a very similar deck as well with Kellen. So Doc Aurlock is the uncommon, the signpost uncommon, and there is Kellen the Kid, which is in Bant, so blue, green and white, which does something similar. It's if you play a card that's not from your hand, you can play a card from your hand for free that's equal or lesser mana value. So you don't quite get the value of getting cheap things, but if you play things, you can then play things for free, and that encourages a lot more playing things off the top. So I'll probably do that deck next week. So if you want to see that, please tune in next Friday for that historic Brawl video. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. I certainly did, and if you did, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all in the next video.